Okay, and we're here for the final episode of Tier C in the challenge series. I hope it's the final episode. We might need another part for the Nordschleife if things go wrong. But let's hope it doesn't get to that point. But yeah, so to avoid that, you can just pause and look at the point standings. I'll just keep talking about it as the race continues anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Let's just go into Spa. We're at the starting grid at Spa, and this isn't really a great opportunity for either of our championship drivers to score many points. Hikari has the slight advantage, being exactly one row ahead of Thrasher. It's a super front row, so that's interesting, and I'm sure that'll get absolutely nowhere. And the other drivers that were like distantly in contention of Thomas O'Reilly and Hyde Keto are not in much better shape either. Well, there's Thomas, but as I heard small collisions back here. Despite the double front row for the Supras, Linne already has the lead. And Thomas O'Reilly already up to 6th after starting 9th. It seems like this is a strong track for the Ford GT40s, they just have to capitalize on it. Which, I mean, Linne is having no problem doing that. Thomas, I don't think, is either, but Thrasher had a bit of a gridlock to deal with at the start, and even still, he's into 10th. The first half of the track is where all of the crazy things happen, but from the downhill right to the final 2 corners, like, nothing happens. Thomas is now in 5th. I overtook Taylor when I wasn't looking. Next on his hit list is the other Riley in the Corvette. And nothing. Meanwhile, Hikari is going for 7th on Michael Krieger, and I think his acceleration will let him get it by the next turn. Yeah. Thrasher not close enough to follow suit. He thought about sending it, but Michael was already sending it on Hikari, so that route was closed. Thrasher doesn't need to gain a ton of points, he just needs to be in a position to prevent Hikari from getting too many on him. So when Hikari makes a pass, Thrasher has to make one, like, simultaneously, or, you know, to match that, as it were. And speaking of pass, here's one coming up on Taylor for Hikari. That was, well, pretty easy, really. Thomas is now into 3rd, having already passed the Supra as well as Riley. With the other Riley. Thrasher has still not overtaken the M3. Instead, Kazuya is gonna force his issue on him. Things are trending in a not so great way for Thrasher at this moment. As I attempt to get comfortable in my seat, you'd think it'd be easy, but it's not working. Thomas has his final target in his sights. I don't think he could get any higher, because Elena is in the same car, like 6 seconds up the road. Hikari has overtaken Riley, and I think unless Thrasher pulls out some more points, that would probably net him the points lead at this rate. He has to try and at least get around Krieger and possibly Taylor. Those are positions he can't afford to not have, because they should be pretty easily obtained with the kind of power advantage that he's working with here. Unfortunately, doing that, I know he's gonna go ahead and pass both at once, or try. He's not going to, but he's gonna try. He got back around Takahata. His acceleration may finally get him clear of the M3. So now this is a little bit more of a manageable position for him. Hikari's still 5th, being walled off by the 2 Supras. For now, but I think that's about to change in a moment. As they go too wide through Eau Rouge, this is always a dangerous formula. But Hikari will take advantage and will claim 4th from it. He still, I think, has plenty of time to get 3rd as well. Thrasher just breezes by Taylor's Lotus. It's always the thing with brand loyalty, is that you end up having a really good car for some points, and then really not so good car for others. There's some valid reasons for the brand loyalties. Gina worked at a mechanic shop, which was built into a Mazda dealer in Italy. Or Italy, no, she was in Yokohama. She was born. I don't remember my own character's backstory. This is something. You know, in Yokohama, she worked at a repair shop that was built into a Mazda dealer. And that sort of influenced her to buy a Mazda RX-7 for her first car back in the early 90s. It's sort of a weird divide, because the Challenge Series characters, many of the older ones, were based around Gran Turismo 2 and 1, but mostly 2. Their age is represented by their age when Gran Turismo 2 was a new game. So Gina was 22 in 2000, and then they just didn't age between the last 20 years. So she was born in like 77, 78. She should be in her 40s. Suddenly Thrasher. My god, I wasn't paying any attention to him. And so Thrasher's gonna take 5th from that. Hikari, I think, is about to take 3rd, though, to match. Maybe not in this corner, but probably in the next couple. Or maybe in this corner. Okay, then. But losing 4 points for Thrasher is not the end of the world. He also has one opportunity to take the place from Darius at the bus stop, because he's not going to be close enough to do it here. There's no way. But if he runs the second half of the track fine, he gets a chance at the last two corners. But yeah, so like that's why she's a Mazda person. Her first car was a Mazda. That RX-7 of hers that she bought in 1999 still works. It's an FC RX-7 OS. For those that play Gran Turismo Sport, I've made representations of each of these characters, and others, via vehicles in that game. Like, I have a red FC RX-7 style to look like the Infiniti model that Gina owns. There's a yellow Skyline R34 with little lightning bolts on it. That's supposed to be Hikari's car. Because his nickname is Voltage, and his name literally translates to light. Thrasher, for his characters, has done some of the same. There does exist an old Supra that's just white, that, like, A70, I think it is? The Supra you're looking at, MK4. There exists a white and black version of that that's supposed to be like Akira's car, among other similar Toyotas. And she hits the last two corners. A pretty dominant display from Linné here at Spa. She's going to take the victory. With two Supras started on the front row, but first and second will belong to the Fords. And Hikari takes a very important third place. Thrasher battling it out for fourth versus Spirell. So it's going to be a 3-4 for the championship leaders, despite them starting not even in the points. The last point is going to go to Taylor. And I finished dead last. That is a yikes. Yeah, the Lotuses are not good here. We are bottom of the standings, Taylor and I. Thomas made a little bit of ground on everybody. He's still there. He's still relevant. If he gets another race like that and Thrasher and Hikari cannot capitalize, he can become a dark horse candidate, but I don't think anybody else has a chance. Even if Linné did that in the next 3 races, I don't think... She literally cannot score enough points, I don't think. Unless she literally won all 3 races. If she came third, like, even once, I think it would be doomed. Basically. But it is 1 point now between Thrasher and Hikari, so we're getting something of a points battle going here as we hit the last 3 races. But these are pretty boring races other than the Nordschleife, so let's just get Zandvoort and Vallelunga out of the way. And we're here on the starting grid of Zandvoort, and this would be a chance for O'Reilly to make up a few points, not many. The Thrasher and Hikari are 8th and 11th. So each of the 3 alleged contenders are 3 places apart on the starting grid. Also, there are birds here, which I didn't really think would be the case. Wow. Well, that's all-wheel drive for you, I guess. It's not enabled Thomas O'Reilly to get where he wants to go off the start, though, and there goes Thrasher, so... It's not at all the start Thomas was looking for, I don't think. It seems weird to me that there's a Pepsi billboard on this track, of all things. I don't know why that's so strange to me. I don't know if that's still there or what, but... Hikari only up one place. This is a track where it is historically very difficult to pass, no less, so... Hikari is gonna have to get to work pretty fast. There's some weird stuff going on behind here, though. I think I just saw Thomas pass Hammer through the S's in the banked corners. That's not usual. That's not usually what happens. Now, Thatcher's just giving himself away by doing that. Thomas may have an easy opportunity to pass him there. Yep. This is all good news for O'Reilly. This is pretty much keeping his championship hopes in the balance, more or less. He needs to make up points here if he doesn't want to have to do so at the Nordschleife, which can be a hassle, to say the least. Kazuya is off to a significant lead, I would say. Taylor desperately wants second, but I don't think her car has the top speed to get it to her. Meanwhile, it is gridlock back here in the bottom half. Hikari is up one place. Now, Thomas need not make the same... What? He needs to not make the same mistake that Thrasher did that gave him this place in the first place. Or if you can just put Akira between him and Thrasher, that would also work brilliantly. But that Supra's got a lot of top speed, so that's not an easy task. It'll take some aggressive braking. There was no aggressive braking to speak of. Hikari going for 8th on Riley, and that's going to be another position as Riley got forced onto the curb. Well, she wasn't really forced, but she put herself there and died, basically. And the Under Night duo are too busy fighting each other to get anywhere. I think they've hit each other at some point, because they are far behind the rest of the pack. I would inspect that, but I want to save as much episode time as I can to try and finish off the Nordschleife without having to make a second video like I did the last time. Thomas still holding 5th. Still in striking distance of Akira if he decides to go for it. Well, he gets into him. It's a bit of a reminder, I guess. Or just, you know, bad brakes, because this car is like 50 years old or so. There or thereabouts. Very old, basically, you know. Aggressive braking. Oh, here he is. He's arrived. And the place is his. Thrasher did not follow through. Hyde with the fastest lap down in 14th. Why am I not surprised? It's the only one not in traffic other than Kazuya right now. I definitely think these two hit each other. Wouldn't be the first time, alright? Thomas could maybe steal third from Taylor if he's positioned right. I don't think Hikari is in any place to get 7th, so that'd be more points gained from Thrasher. Especially if he can pass Akira here. That's not how you do it whatsoever. That's actually allowing Hammer to pass him. That was a critical error again. Oh, Thomas getting very aggressive for that 3rd place. He knows his championship hopes depend on that 3rd place. Well, that's not the most sporting way to take it. You will end up getting the place, for better or worse. It's strange because O'Reilly is not normally an aggressive type of driver. But I guess when things are on the line, he does push aside those tendencies. I also know he and Thrasher have kind of had a Ford rivalry going, so... And look at how that's affected points. Thomas is right in the thick of it now, but nobody else can contend for it at this point. And now we move on to the penultimate round, Vallelunga. However you say it, I really don't care. We're on the starting grid of Vallelunga. Got the name for a second. Yeah, this is interesting. The top 3 in points are 2nd, 3rd, 4th. With Dietrich Hammer in front of them for a relatively easy pass. This will pretty much be like the final bout before we reach pretty much the war of attrition. That is the Nordschleife, under some circumstances. Yeah, let's just... This will be a snooze fest. It always is at this track. Also, it's like the only time I've ever picked a car that belongs in the category for my little, like, safety car. Like I said, pretty easy pass. You don't have the horsepower for that big man. Apparently has the handling though. Does Thrasher send it? Yes. Whoa, the curb! Some unique driving from the two that are supposed to be the title fighters. There's not very much else worth looking at besides the top 4. I mean, Hyde might become relevant, but probably not. Ironically, Kazuya is 4th in points, and he's running 5th, so... Oh my god, Hyde, you good? Did you blow a tire? The heck was that? Well, Hammer is perfectly placed to give Thomas a huge amount of breathing room. I think the results of this one are pretty much set. Hikari may pass Hammer in the future, but that's the most I can imagine happening here for the top half. Or apparently just in general. Linne versus Riley going into basically turn 1, I suppose I'm gonna miss. Everyone likes that curb a lot. It's not good, you shouldn't be hitting that, but here we are. Riley will try to outbreak Linne again. Nothing. Oh, Thrasher's caught and passed Hikari. Almost said Kazuya, wrong GTR. But Hikari has the inside there, and Thrasher doesn't have the grip to stay there, so he backs out. Bit of a hide moment. Totally ignores the corner. It's all a conga line going through the last few corners. Thomas is like 4 seconds ahead by this point. Okay, like 3. Still. Far enough to not be any under immediate threat from anyone else. Because they have to get through that Mercedes first. That's not terribly likely. Kazuya is in striking distance, but I don't know if he'll do anything with it. Hikari is off his line. That might give Thrasher an opening in the near future. Hikari is throwing everything in the kitchen sink at Hammer, trying to get him past. Now Thrasher's going to throw himself at Hikari. This time he'll have the inside here. And now I think the pass is made for real this time. That insult to the injury, Kazuya is also going to get ahead of Hikari. Maybe. Actually, no. Not enough lateral rotation. Maybe. Actually, yeah, he will. Maybe? They've been dead even for a few corners now. This one's got to settle it. Two GTRs went at it for like 5 corners, but eventually Kazuya finally came out ahead. Looking like kind of dire straits for Hikari here. He was already down 4 going into the race, now he's going to be down almost 10. He's definitely not out of it by any stretch, but it'll be difficult to claw it back at the Nürburgring, barring unforeseen circumstances, which can always happen. That's kind of the reason why it's there. But especially with a vehicle as difficult to drive as the GT40, compared to something like a GTR, which is, well, considerably easier, being all-wheel drive and all of that. And now the brigade has showed up to Hikari's doorstep. but they're too busy fighting each other for that to matter. As you can see when they just overtake and hide. Leaderboard lied to me, I thought I was in points for once. As he heads through the last set of corners, Thomas O'Reilly is staking his claim on this championship. He's certainly a contestant for it going into the final round of the Nürburgring. As he wins no, he doesn't win. What am I talking about? But he wins this race at Vallelunga. To recap his previous finishes in this championship: first, second, fourth? No. First, second. Where was he at Zandvoort? Fourth? Or fifth? Fourth. Fifth. Third! No, he passed Taylor. Okay, so I'm stupid. First, second, third, first. Those are his last 7 races. He's had 7 consecutive podiums. That is unbelievable for a series with randomized grids. And now we've arrived at the final round. 6 points separating the top 3, so we're actually going to have a fight for it for the first time in a while, it seems like. Other things at stake, me and Taylor fighting for not last. Gina and Hammer tied in points. But everybody else is pretty spread out. Like, the 2 Supras are fighting, I guess, besides Gina as well. You're here for the starting grid of the Nordschleife, the final race of Tier C. And they are all here. Right here, 3rd, 4th, and 6th. Ultimately 5th, because Thrasher should be able to get the Corvette off the line. The advantage is technically to Thomas here, but I don't really know if that matters. No one really gets anywhere off the line. Thrasher certainly didn't get the Corvette like I expected. At least not yet. This race is just as much about who will win as it is about who can survive. Because there are definitely a couple of locations for attrition here at the Nordschleife. I just hope we don't repeat the last time I was here and we have somebody that has to drive around with a wrecked car for 20 minutes. You guys wouldn't see much of it, but I'll certainly be waiting. Not off the line, but Thrasher has overtaken Blanchard to claim 5th place. Meanwhile, Thomas and Hikari are fighting. Yes, Hikari doesn't want to waste too much time trying to pass Thomas. He needs to get ahead of him and then get ahead of other cars, because he's down 6 points on the other 2. He's down 5 on Thomas, beside the point. Point is, finishing here will give it to Thomas, so Hikari needs to go ahead and pass the next 2 if he is to win the championship. I don't even remember who's won the other championships. I've made no note of previous tiers. I should probably start doing that, at least for future reference, if nothing else. As we hit the 2-minute mark, our leader, Ferenc Fidanzi, descends into the Nürburgring Nordschleife. And And of bloody course, I'm in last. Why am I not surprised? This Lotus is terrible. I'm going back to my other manufacturers. Should have bought a Corvette. Pretty tentative. Everyone's just kind of holding station where they started. I mean, everyone, literally everyone, not just the ones I'm watching, but like nothing's really changed at all. Riley is kind of separating the group. There's a big difference between herself and Hyde, who's running 6th. Here's the first place where things can go horribly wrong, this high-speed left. If you for whatever reason are too wide with somebody going through here, this may happen. You may end up wrecked. Riley herself was in the grass there, trying to stay out of Kazuya's way. However, Kazuya was the only person that had that brilliant idea. And coming up is the next peril area. You go too fast over that bump and you will die. None of the top 5 have done it. Hyde has survived, but I'm more concerned about is... Oh, Riley held it. She's the one that can do it. Corvettes are unstable like that. Everybody's made it. To my surprise. First lap probably not spread out enough, no one's going fast enough to crash. That's a possibility. Hikari is quite close to Linné. These are a lot of corners, which GT40s I imagine aren't really that great at compared to a GTR. With like, you know, modern suspension kits and such. And also Hikari just having more experience. It'll be a while yet before we reach the next kind of, like, perilous location. There's like 4 on the track, really. One of which is literally the first corner, if we do it wrong enough, so... There's only one more on the track, and to the very end of the lap. But we are reaching a straightaway section, so maybe, just maybe, you will see passes up the hill. And Darius has been smacked around a little bit by something, unless he did it to himself. That's possible. And Kazuya is in a very unenviable no man's land right now. He's got probably 3 or 4 seconds ahead of... He's got probably a couple of seconds ahead of Darius, but he's still got to catch like 3 to reach Hyde in 6th place. I think he's got the car to do it, he's just going to take some time. And I'm sure Fidanzi is living his best life right now. He's running, not running away, but I mean the straightaway at the end of the track is gonna get to him a little bit, but he's certainly loving all these corners. Oh, I forgot about this. This is a place too, but I don't know who spins here. Well, the GT40's kind of clipped through it. I think this is more of a problem with the lower slung cars, like a GT3 or something, because nobody has had a problem there either. Oh, we have passing happening. The Group A's are fighting for 12th place, ahead of me and Taylor in the Lotuses. We're just kind of helpless in this here. I think they were faster, to be honest. Not nearly as helpless as, say, the Celica and Tier B from last year, but not great. Watching humans race on this track is much more entertaining, and believe me, I can tell you, I've commentated such a race myself. Old ARC touring cars on this track, which I was commentating, and that was a blast. But AI, not always. The human element means there's a lot more mistakes that will happen. Also, there's like that blacked out road there, and I don't know what that means. There was a Nürburgring North course that existed at some point, but God knows what happened to it. Because Nordschleife means North course, so... And it's not just because it's north of the GP circuit, because that was named before the GP circuit even existed. There was like a Südschleife or something that was pronounced, and that was, I imagine deemed unsafe and therefore shut down, because, I mean, of course. I mean, this track's hardly safe, so here we are. And we have reached the back straightaway, or at least Fidanzi has. This is where his weakest point is, but he's got such a lead that I don't really think it matters. And at the end of the straightaway lies the last perilous location on the course before you've completed a lap. It's not normally that hard. For some reason these AI don't know how to brake for it, and that can create some interesting moments. I'll just say that. A brisk 160 down here. Meanwhile, 190 almost for Hikari, and just about as much for Lene and the GT40. Yeah, the Group A car will have no problem making this. The cars afterward, problems. Hikari doesn't, but Lene, not great. Hyde, not great. The GT40's not great. Lene got lucky to get away with minimal suspension damage. But he still has a little bit, and that's going to mean Hikari finally gets his chance to take second away. You guys running still? You guys gonna show me the damage? I mean, we've all hit the wall, but like not very hard. Oh, Akira definitely did though. Riley, perfectly fine. Everyone is running, and still running at a relatively decent pace. Probably some crooked steering wheels, but that's the most we've got. I've got body damage. Taylor has also body damage. Krieger made it, he was just going really slow, I guess, because he was trying to avoid Hammer, who I know hit the wall, but didn't get much damage. Akira got absolutely trashed. Not the other supers, fair. Well, I can see a dent. I see more dents. I see a lot of damage on Darius's car, but the game's not telling me the damage. So I actually have suspension damage on the wrong side of the car, which is kind of concerning. Thomas has a little bit of front left. Hikari couldn't get that pass done, really? I feel like Kurt Busch right now. Check the damage. Check the damage. Thank you. Oh my god. A little bit of suspension damage for Darius. And a little bit for Gina. It's a lot of yellow suspension, but nothing critical and nothing that's going to make me sit here for 25 minutes. So, back into the Nordschleife with some damaged vehicles. Some more than others. Akira already creating a bit of a train behind him with all of his damage. But taking up enough of the road so that the Group A's are having a hard time going by. Lene is under immense pressure right now. It's spread the field out more, yes, but at the same time, it's also created a bit of damage, which means it'll be a more difficult journey going around the second time. As things sit right now, Thomas would be your champion. That's still not changed. Hikaru would have to get around Lene for that to even be at risk, and even then, Thomas would also have to be passed, and Hikari also has to not do that. Oh, I didn't even look at Hyde's damage. He has a lot of front and rear bumper damage, but nothing else. Oh, Thrasher, keep it under control there. He's been passed by Takahata, which has put his dreams of the championship to bed, pretty much. I can confidently say Fidenzi is in pretty good shape to win this final round. He's got no damage, and he's got a lead of like probably 8-9 seconds at this point. And the lead's only going to increase because of Lene's damage that you are being shown. Check the damage! I like how Thomas is catching these two despite the fact that he also has his own damage. He has more than Lene. And because Lene is in the way of Hikari here, he's actually, like, Thomas is actually catching the two. Easy there, Stallion. My god. Despite his unusual racing line, Thrasher has re-overtaken Takahata anyway, so that's interesting. What the heck? How'd that happen? Well, if that persists, then that really cements Thomas winning the championship. Thomas is just ignoring that damage like it really doesn't exist. Oh my god. That doesn't look comfortable, I'll tell you that. Alright, I gotta do this now to get back into that camera. Thomas is not only getting away from Hikaru, he's catching Lene with more damage than Lene has. That's not him. It's like just about the same, but it's a slightly more pale yellow on this car here. This is incredible. Reminder, this man is 66 years old, and he's as old as the car, mind you. Actually, isn't that old? I don't remember. I had to look back in my logbook, more or less. Oh, he's 54. I'm dumb. The only reason why I was like, wait, is that his age? Was because he drives the Cobra, because both he and the Cobra were created in 1965. So technically he's 56. 55, 56, because depends on his birthday's in January or not, but... They just have ages, they don't have birthdays, so... And I don't know the age of any of Thrasher's characters, like Fidanzi here, because he doesn't give the age for his characters. I know Akira is the younger brother, because Hikari is almost 30 or something like that. And having made the S's once again, your winner at the Nordschleife is going to be Fran Fidanzi. Lene slides into the DMs through the S's. That's a big mighty whack, but no damage. Thomas, slighter whack, but gets spun out by Hikari. Does he get saved here? No. No, he doesn't. You can get it turned around though. But that actually means that Hikari is gonna win the championship, I think. I don't know, I'll tell you when the leaderboard stops spazzing out. Unsurprisingly, Akira is in last place. And he is just not reaching the back straightaway, which means at least I won't be waiting for too long. Here come the two Lotuses of myself and Taylor. And we make them like normal people to finish the race, so we're just waiting on Akira to complete it. He's still kind of hauling for all that suspension damage. He's almost cracked 160. But the S's are going to be a very interesting experience. 865. Oh my god. Oh my god, wait a minute. Hang on. I'll wait for Akira to finish the race, but I think I know what's just happened now. Akira has survived. And just as Fidanzi's on his cooldown lap hitting the Nordschleife, Akira will finish 39 seconds later. Okay, I got the points totally wrong. Unless it counted right when Thomas got hit or something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that has to be what would have happened. Which is kind of weird that I could do that. But I guess it makes sense, because Hikari spun him for it. You shouldn't really get the points for that. It was like calculated at the end of the first, it was like calculated at the end of the last sector. I don't know. Anyway, I would have, if that had not happened, Hikari would have gained more points. He would have gained 2 more points, so he would be at 126. Thrasher would have lost a point. Actually, no, Thrasher would have been your champion. But I guess, like I said, the game just kind of did it like at the end of the back, like at the start of the back straight away, which means Thomas O'Reilly, with basically finishing results of, well, let's see, it just gave him 10 points, so he'd been third. Yeah, his last 8 races, if you look through first, second, third. He got 8 consecutive podiums on his way to taking the championship. I don't think you can detract anything from that. So yeah, I'm not even going to dispute that the game did that. Thomas deserved that championship, and Hikari was just like, no! I will have another one. No, you won't. So now we move on to Tier D English, please. As we look at the vehicles on offer for that, GT40's return. But Renee is not driving one of them. She'll have Lamborghini. Taylor stays in the 211. Eric returns in the 458 alongside Hyde this time. Schwartz is finally back again, once again in the Cayman GT4. And 2 of the same GTRs. Carly in the GT40. Isabella Flynn's back on the 211. Kaiser in the GT4. And then we have Cameron back again. Farah Fidanzi? It's, I think it's one of Fran's daughters. And Brian Ice, another one of Thrasher's crew, along with... There's a lot of Thrasher's group here. There's Fidanzi here, there's Ice, Kaiser, Thrasher himself, and... okay, that's it, I thought there was more. But yeah, 16 more races. Slightly faster cars. I think it'll be tough to top Tier C, but this one might. I think it has the most variety in cars. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different vehicles out of 15, so yeah.